Well, I never had any ambitions to become a politician, just as simply the situation arose, and I was encouraged by my colleagues in the labour and trade union movement to go forward for it. And at that time I thought it wasn't a job for me, because I was just a normal wee working class guy, and being a politician was for somebody far more intelligent than I was. I've since found out, since going into the House of Commons, there are far more less intelligent people in there than you'd have believe, but there is a distinct lack of working class people coming through in terms of members of Parliament, and I think that's something that we need to build upon. I would have never been there if it wasn't for the trade union movement, and I'm eternally grateful for the work that the trade union movement done in terms of helping me to get there. If we are truly to represent people of a working class background, then we need people from a working class background to be in the mother of Parliament, as we call it. I just think there's far too many people these days who are looking at politics, particularly in the Labour Party, but also in other parties as well, as just a method of a career. My view is, if you believe or if you care for people, that's the reason why you want to get into politics. If you care for your community, that's the reason why you get into politics. If you care for yourself, then I would suggest you look at another party other than the Labour Party. But when I started work, I seen these sort of injustices that was happening, not just in the industrial world, but throughout the world as well. At that time, in places like El Salvador, and today in Colombia, etc. But I seen the injustice that was happening in the workplace as well, and I took the decision then that I don't leave it for somebody else to do it. I need to do it myself, along with others, and that's what trade unions was all about working collectively. And I seen the health and safety things that were happening, that people were being exposed to asbestos, for instance, who are now seeing deaths of mesothelioma, which is probably the worst kind of death, cancerous death you'll ever see in your life. And I seen the injustices, and I wanted to do something about it. So rather than sit back and let somebody else do it for me, I decided to get involved, and I think that's what other people need to do. We need more people to get involved in the trade union labour movement. Don't leave it to anybody else. First of all, I'm chair of the All-Party Occupational Health and Safety Group at Westminster, and I genuinely do believe that we don't give health and safety the importance it deserves. Equally so, the current coalition austerity cuts, are looking at cutting yet again health and safety legislation, and indeed health and safety inspectors. That has major implications for people at the workplace. And if I can just be sort of non-partisan for a moment, I just think there's not enough politicians at Westminster that take health and safety serious, and they fall into the trap set by the Daily Mail. The health and safety is just a big administrative burden on employers, and we don't really need it. So I think the more people we have that's banging a drum for health and safety, the better. In terms of my other role as on the Culture, Media and Sports Select Committee, I think we've done a good job in exposing just exactly what was going on in the Murdoch empire. And at this stage I have to pay credit to Tom Watson, who's been absolutely magnificent, and also Paul Farrelly, who's been absolutely magnificent as well. But I think that we've brought to a head some of the injustices and the corrupt practices that's going on at News International, and I now see people have been charged and we're going to court, and I think that unlike their victims, they'll have their day in court and be able to defend themselves. The victims, that the lives that they destroyed, did not have the chance to defend themselves, and some of them are still suffering, as is their families. So from that point of view, I think the Select Committee did an excellent job in bringing to boot some of the people who are carrying out criminal behaviour in the news of the world, and hopefully the law will come down on them. In my own constituency, I'm now picking up serious problems, particularly youth unemployment, where people are now in long-term youth unemployment. And that's for young people to be unemployed, but particularly for a length of time, it's soul destroying. I had 3 years of unemployment, and it's the worst 3 years of my life, and that was basically because I was banned from working by the Economic League, who blacklisted me and made sure that I couldn't get a job. Now hopefully I'll turn the corner of that, and the trade unions have been instrumental in making sure that doesn't happen. But I'm now picking up people being unemployed for a long period of time, and when you're unemployed, you become depressed, you become agitated, you become negative, so that's what we need to do. So these austerity measures that the government have introduced, even today experts are saying to George Osborne that we need to change direction, that these austerity measures are not working, so therefore we need a plan B. And I don't buy into this, that cutting public services is the way to save money. I am now, as my role as MP, I'm now picking up cases of vulnerable people who are now experiencing at first hand just exactly what these austerity cuts are. Well, basically the role of the chair of the Unite Trade Union at Parliament is to try and bring forward the issues that matter to unite the union. That's not to say that we are at the beck and call of Unite the Union, but we listen to what the issues are in terms of the members. And almost always the issues are the same ones that we have in terms of people losing their jobs, in terms of trying to build up manufacturing, in terms of protecting public services. So that's the role of Unite the Union at Parliament at Westminster, but also working in conjunction with other trade unions at Parliament because they have the same issues as well. So that's what we need to do, is work collectively. For too long the trade unions have been treated like a drunken uncle in the attic, and the only time that's spoken to is when they want money from. I think that's going to change. And the trade unions have to become more influential. Unfortunately, there are people in the party who see the role of trade unions currently as they have too much influence, and they are already working with employers, large businesses, to try and undermine the influence, indeed the role of trade unions. And I'm hopeful, and I'm using no stronger word than that, I'm hopeful that Ed Miliband resists the temptations to break the link that some people are arguing for the trade unions, because they see the trade unions as a backward step. And I think that's a negative way to go down. And I just think that in this day and age, working people need the trade unions more than ever. They need a good, strong, progressive Labour Party more than ever. And I think that now the time is right, and I think the appetite is right there amongst workers, amongst honestly progressive Labour activists, for the party to go down a direction that's going to truly reflect their views and not the views of big business. Don't sit on your backside and let somebody else do it for you. Get involved. Whatever level of politics you want to get involved, whatever level of trade union you want to get involved in, please do it. Don't leave it to somebody else, because that won't happen. If everybody leaves it to somebody else, nothing's going to happen.